Meghan Markle pulling
that was my story. They'd
pulling
like
festive
to.
crackers.
They'd like to.
Yeah, it was your story, yeah. But none of this is going to help because there is this belief, which may or may not be true in the case of this book. Fact. I don't know, right? But we know in the first book, Meghan Markle said she had nothing to do with it and then under oath had to admit she did. If it turns out the same has happened here and she's authorised friends to help him and give him stuff, because let's face it...
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
This exchange of letters between Charles and Meghan Markle, only one of them can have told people about that. And Charles is not the kind of guy that's going to be telling people about a letter like that, which makes me think it's her and her friends or somebody has gone to Scobie. We'll wait and see.
Are you serious?
But if that is the case, this is going to be very damaging to the ongoing trust issues between Charles and Harry.
Well, trust is the key issue, and I think that was something I touched on in that piece about them saying we wouldn't decline an invitation to spend time with the family. The problem is, as you just rightly said, imagine what a whole Christmas at Sandringham would produce in terms of potential future content. And I think looking at, the phone call between Charles and Harry and Meghan...
Stop it.
Around Charles' 70th birthday. It was briefed before it happened, and it was briefed after. And I think if you can't even have a private phone conversation that isn't briefed before or after...
I honestly wouldn't trust... If that was someone in my family, after what they've done, repeatedly, I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them.
Trust is the issue. And
fact.
That's not changing anytime soon.
Let's go to Kahindi, Andrew, who's been waiting patiently here. Kahindi, we've talked a lot about race issues over the years, but specifically here, there is no doubt that when they went on Oprah Winfrey 2 years ago, they made a series of allegations directly inferring racism by senior members of the royal family, which they've never produced evidence for, and which 2 years later Harry said, oh, we didn't mean...
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
In racism, we meant unconscious bias and so on. Do you not feel that that is incredibly damaging to people like you who constantly fight battles for racial equality, racial justice?
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Try and fight proper battles about this. Is it not incredibly damaging to that when someone of their profile tries to pretend what they said to Oprah Winfrey was not what it was?
Stop it.
Well, no, I mean, I think the allegations when they came out, we all kind of believed it. It wasn't something that seems completely outrageous. Also, I'm not sure what evidence you could have. And actually, if you listen to the clips, they're clearly trying not to say the names because they know the names are going to cause this massive storm. But
Are you serious?
I think a bigger problem with the whole way this has been portrayed is Oprah's shocked, everybody's shocked. No black person I know was shocked that this came up in a conversation in the royal family. And the bigger problem here really is that actually it isn't about racist royals.
Wait for it.
It's about the royal family is racism. It is a symbol of white supremacy. That's the bigger problem.
Well, because
the way we
they're
talk
white.
about this now is completely
Because
ludicrous.
they're white.
No, not because they're white, but because they're white, because they are
Where is
almost
the evidence?
exclusively
Where
white,
is the evidence
because
of
they
them
are
being white
the link-
supremacists?
What is he doing?
Link back to the link back to colonialism. Why do we even... The idea that a country like Britain, which is incredibly diverse, an empire which was more diverse, is led by this almost exclusively white family into the 21st century. I'm sorry, that is
So you're judging them by their skin.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
That's the issue of racism.
So just to be clear, you're judging them by their skin colour, not the content of their characters.
No. I'm saying their skin colour is not an accident. It is not an accident that Meghan Markle
No, they're
is the
white.
first black person to
They
go
can't
into
help
the
being
family.
white.
It is not an accident that she's run out of the family.
Kahindi, they're
No, but
white,
that's the- no,
you're
their
black,
whiteness is the
I'm
point.
white, we
It's
can't
not
help
acci-
our skin colour.
It's not about their skin colour, it's about what it represents. The idea that that King Charles is the king of... My family's from Jamaica, which is 90% black people, and the king of, the head of state of Jamaica is the King Charles. It's ludicrous. That is a ludicrous thing in the 21st century. But that is what I'm saying, symbol of white supremacy.
Well,
That's
you're going to
what the
have a
problem
vote.
is. I couldn't care less if it was Kate.
Listen, countries like Jamaica will have votes and they can
It's not about
decide...
having a vote, it's about the...
No, but
No, it's
the
about
point
the
is you
history,
can...
it's about why
There
is
are
that. How can you
countries
defend
choosing...
it?
There are countries like Jamaica choosing whether they want to go independent. That's absolutely a democratic right. You don't have to have our monarch as the head of state.
The fact that's a choice The fact that's a choice in the 21st century tells you there's a big problem.
Do you think anyone then, so anyone in the royal family, Hindi, just to be clear, anyone in the royal family, as far as you're concerned, is a white supremacist simply because they're white and they're part of a royal family?
What I'm saying is the royal family, like the police or like universities where I work, they are institutions of white supremacy. It's not about the
Stop it.
individuals. It's about what they do. It's about their role in the world. That's the real case. The royal family should be gone. It should be abolished. It shouldn't exist if we're talking about anti-racism. I really couldn't care less which royal said what, because that actually distracts.
What if
from
they
the bigger
didn't say it
issues.
at all?
Why on earth would we accept
What
this?
if they didn't say it at all, but the whole world has been led for 2-3 years to believe that they did? What about that scenario?
Like I said, this doesn't, like for me, it really doesn't matter whether they said it or not.
Because you think they're all racist anyway, right?
Not about individual people say it's not they are all racist. They are in an institution which is racism, which is one of these primary symbols of racism.
You know, sometimes,
I think it is a
Wait for it.
bit surprising that Kate. I think.
I'm going to say sometimes, you know, when your default position, which it always is, by the way, is that everyone's a white supremacist if they've got white skin colour until they can prove otherwise.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
It is your default position.
That is not what I said.
And it is your default position.
Piers, you know it's not what I said.
That's always been your default position.
I said that the institution.
Any white people in any position of authority, power, anything, they're all white supremacists according to you. It does beg the question,
My
why
default position
why
is
do you
that
want to
any
live in a country like this if they're
any
all white
institutions
supremacists?
like I could go home back to Jamaica.
No,
but unfortunately,
I don't care.
The head of state is the king.
You can go.
It's the same problem. I can't even get away from it.
You can go where the hell you like. I'm just saying, why, honestly, why?
Nice.
Why stay in a country you believe is led in every pillar of the establishment and society by white supremacists? Makes no sense to me.
Because the reality is that that's the world. I didn't choose the world. That is the world that I inhabit. And I will just stress, I'm not saying that all white people are white supremacists. I actually think when we think about racism as individual races, it's the worst way to think about it. Think about the systems, think about the institutions. And the royal family is exclusively white for a reason. It is
Are you serious?
the head of the so-called Commonwealth British Empire for a reason. It is a direct connection to the colonial history that this country loves so much. It is the premier symbol of white supremacy.
You know what? It's actually not exclusively white.
These comments.
It's not exclusively white because the Duchess
Almost
of Sussex.
Exclusively. I said
the
almost
Duchess of
exclusively.
Sussex is not
I
white.
said almost exclusively.
What she did do was she
Yeah,
entered the royal
exception
family.
that proves the rule.
She launched a grenade of racism allegations and has ever since stayed silent about those and let them run riot around the world. I mean, that to me,
She came into the royal family and her blackness was so much of an affront
in its
that
way,
everybody lost their minds.
That, in its way, is a form of racism, actually.
Are you serious?
In my view, what she's done. But we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out now, because I've decided to name
Piers,
the two
are you
people
really accusing Meghan Markle
named
of
in the
racism?
Holland version of this book. Let's see how this plays out. Let's see whether Meghan Markle and Harry were involved with Scobie's book. Let's see what Scobie and his involvement in this offending paragraph and naming was. Let's just see how this all plays out. And let's give the members of the royal family that they besmirched collectively, let's give them the chance to properly respond.
Okay.
Because I don't believe a word of it. Anyway, Kahindi, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Tom, good to see you. Roya, thank you very much indeed.
Coming up on The Talk, eco-zealots bring chaos to the capital with more slow marches before police put an irate driver in handcuffs. Boris Johnson hits the headlines as he's referred to police over new lockdown-breaking claims. And hold on to your hat. It's been revealed the average cost of attending a wedding has soared to £1,000. That's all coming up at 9.
Okay.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. I'm joined by the political journalist Ava Tina and Talk TV presenter Richard Tice. Right.
Nice.
Have you sinned, either of you?
Every day, Piers.
I mean,
Every day. Come
where
on.
do we even start with you, Tice? Actually, and you. And me.
And you.
We're all doomed.
What do you mean by that? We're all doomed.
What did you make of that interview?
I mean, I grew up in a Catholic household.
Yeah, I did.
And I don't know anyone who acts that fundamental about anything. And, you know, when I read the headline this morning and we heard about,
Yeah.
you know, him...
And you feel
dismissing-
instinctively quite sympathetic, I think. Most, well, you wouldn't, obviously, because you're woke as hell.
Okay, well, I read it and I knew immediately there's got to be so much more to this. There's no way he's just, slightly mispronounced.
And there is a lot
someone.
more to it.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Yeah.
The more I spoke to him and got out of him, the more extreme his views became, right?
I mean, the reality is, on the pronouns thing, he's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just that is not the right way to be teaching and addressing people in schools.
what is he doing?
There's no question.
Do you mean using the wrong pronouns? Is
No,
the right way to
using-
be
Yeah, but when you've
addressing
got 10% of kids now in some schools identifying as something other than their biological
that's a
sex,
farce,
at that point, it is ridiculous to expect teachers to even try and keep up with this madness, right?
Appointment is immeasurable.
It's insane. It's a fact.
Insane. It's
a fact.
absolutely
It's like 10 of them are doing it, I'm going to do it. It's honestly.
But that doesn't matter.
You don't believe for a moment that 10% of students in this country have dysphoria, do you?
I do think that transphobia is where homophobia was about 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago.
It's an issue of
I do,
safeguarding.
and I think that people...
It's unnecessarily
It's not
causing
transphobia.
anxiety.
We're not actually talking about
children who
trans.
should be
It's not a
These aren't actually.
safeguarding issue.
These aren't
It
It is
actually.
a safeguarding
It's
issue.
not a
'cause-
pronoun issue. That pronouns aren't a safeguarding issue. I understand if a child might be going off to seek some sort of therapy and you need to let the parents know. I understand that.
Encouraging
But
the
if it-
discussion of
but if
gender
someone's
questioning
asking,
in primary school.
By the way, and do you know
safeguarding
why
issue.
trans people are having to put up with extra mockery?
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
And I feel very strongly about this. That proper trans people who are not just doing it for a fad, but genuinely believe they're trapped in the wrong body. Many of them have surgery and so on. I know people who've been through this. It's an incredible ordeal they go through.
What do you mean by that?
When they hear a leader of a political party like Sir Ed Davey of the Liberal Democrats saying this is what causes the problems.
We need to manage this and think about it and debate it with a bit more maturity and a bit more compassion.
Well, that's what Sir Keir Starmer once said to me, and he never did answer the question, can a woman have a penis?
What?
Well, I've just answered that question.
They can.
Listen, I've made it really clear that if people, the vast majority of people will have the same gender as their biological sex, but a small number won't.
So a woman can have a penis?
Well, quite clearly.
I think you gave a perfectly good answer there.
Quite clearly,
Perfectly
women
good
can
answer.
have penises.
I think you can. You ask a reductive question and you get a reductive answer.
Quite
I mean,
clearly,
yeah.
women
It's
can
a
have
biological
penises.
question which demands a biological answer. Okay. And he's completely wrong and he wants
if
to be
it's-
the leader of the country. It's absurd.
No,
You don't believe women have penises?
I do believe that some trans women can have penises.
Not trans
I
women,
do.
women.
Stop it. Get some help.
No, come on, don't be so reductive with that question.
It's not reductive.
Because
It's
if I answer that
This
question...
is why women's sport is being destroyed.
No, it's not.
Because people will not distinguish between trans women and women.
Okay.
Wait for it.
Okay, right, well,
You
look.
cannot damage biology. You cannot deny biology. You just can't do it. And political leaders say clearly women have penises. You know what happens? Trans people, real trans people, they get mocked and they get vilified for it.
Come on now, dog.
What's your
what increases
definition of a real
transphobia.
trans person? Perhaps
People
Ed
who
Davey
genuinely do feel they're trapped in the wrong body.
Perhaps Ed Davey is referring to real trans people who feel they are trapped in the wrong body.
But they
That's
are
who
a
he's
trans
talking
person.
about.
They're
I
not
mean,
a woman, Ava.
listen, it's the same.
biologically impossible.
Why, as a woman, are you not keen to protect women's rights to be women?
What is he doing? I don't think it affects my rights whatsoever. What does
It
affect
does.
what does affect my rights is
You've
that
got
this
male
country,
rapists being put in female prisons.
Hang on, Piers.
You've got male sprinters and swimmers
And that-
and cyclists destroying biological females at sport. What more evidence do you need?
None of that is a threat to me. Do you know what is a threat to me? The fact that I can't walk home at night safely. The fact that I know that
Different
1%
issue.
of rapes reported go to conviction.
Different issue.
It's not a different
issue.
Because you're arguing that men are dangerous and they shouldn't be in women's spaces.
Boy.
That's what I agree with.
I've got no problem with coming with you on that journey to make places safer for women. You don't make places safer for women by allowing male rapists into women's prisons.
What?
Because they go, ta-da, I'm a woman. It's bullshit. Anyway, let's agree about one thing before we finish, which is that there is one great woman in this country.
Okay.
In fact, after the Queen's very sad death, there's one left, in my estimation, other than my mother, obviously, and it's Dame Joan Collins, the magical Dame Joan, who today turned 90 years old. Probably won't thank me for reminding her, but she looks about 50, certainly younger than me. Happy birthday, Dame Joan. You are a proper woman.
What do you mean by that?
and we salute you on this show. Thank you, Pac. We can agree on that, right?
We can agree on that. Remarkable. We all want to be that.
I'll tell you who does keep it uncensored. Joan Collins. That woman. Boring.